Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 15 months ago, the Select Subcommittee declared a mission of getting to the bottom of the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. As ranking member, I made a promise to keep an open mind about how the pandemic started, because understanding whether the novel coronavirus emerged from a lab or from nature is essential to better preventing and preparing for future public health threats and to better protecting the American people. And as the origins of the novel coronavirus remain inconclusive, I stand by this commitment. But as we approach the three-quarter mark of the Select Subcommittee's work this Congress, we must acknowledge the fact that the majority's probe into our public health agencies and federally funded research has left us with no better understanding of how the novel coronavirus came to be. We have poured over nearly 450,000 pages of documents provided to us by federal agencies, universities, and private citizens. We have conducted more than 100 hours of closed-door interviews with 20 current and former federal officials and scientists. And we have held multiple hearings, all in what has at times appeared to be an effort to weaponize concerns about a lab-related origin to fuel sentiment against our nation's scientists and public health officials for partisan gain. And while the Select Subcommittee's probe has uncovered efforts by Dr. Peter Daszak to mislead his funders at the National Institute of Health and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, it has not substantiated any allegations that federal grant funding for EcoHealth Alliance created the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a critically important distinction. As Dr. Tabak explained in a letter to the Committee on Oversight and Reform in October of 2021, research performed under EcoHealth Alliance's grant, including at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, involved viruses that are too genetically distant from SARS-CoV-2 to be its progenitor virus. The Select Subcommittee has obtained no evidence this Congress to suggest otherwise, nor has it nearly spent equivalent time and energy meaningfully examining the still very real possibility that the novel coronavirus could have emerged through zoonosis in nature. And so at the end of the day, nearly a year and a half into House Republicans' majority, we are right where we started when it comes to understanding COVID's origins. Now, as a ranking member of the Select Subcommittee, I also promise to follow the facts wherever they lead. And as we examined earlier this month, the facts indicate that Dr. Daszak and EcoHealth Alliance may have deliberately misled federal regulators and investigators, including at NIH, regarding their compliance with reporting requirements and the nature of their scientific work. And we can all agree that demonstrating a reckless disregard for transparency and accountability to the American taxpayers who fund your research is unacceptable, and this misconduct should be taken seriously. But we should also bear in mind that as EcoHealth misconduct has been identified, NIH has taken decisive actions to rectify the issue at hand, including by recommending the debarment of the Wuhan Institute of Virology and instituting unprecedented conditions on EcoHealth's use of funds. And just yesterday, the Department of Health and Human Services announced that it had immediately suspended funding to EcoHealth and initiated debarment proceedings for the organization. While the discussion of how we can continue to strengthen oversight of the use of taxpayers' funding is always an important one, it is my hope that we can use this conversation to generate constructive forward-looking solutions to fortify the work of our nation's public health agencies and workforce, as opposed to denigrating them for partisan gain. As members of the Select Subcommittee, we have an obligation to confront the challenges of declining confidence in science and public health to advance pandemic preparedness, not further weaken it by sowing extreme conspiratorial accusations that our public health leaders caused and sought to cover up the origins of the novel coronavirus for the sake of scoring political points. So as we look toward the future, it is my hope that we can work together to build on the progress Congress made to fortify our shores for future public health threats that when Democrats passed the Consolidated Appropriations Act. Reforms that strengthened protections against undue influence in our biomedical research, improved training and transparency for the handling of select agents, paved the way for the interagency collaboration to fortify zoonotic disease prevention, and invested in our infectious disease workforce. And it is my hope that we can work with the Biden administration to continue to fortify biosafety, including by collaborating on the implementation of new guidelines the Office of Science and Technology Policy announced earlier this month to strengthen oversight of dual-use research of concern and research involving pathogens with enhanced pandemic potential. And I look forward to a hearing of the constructive work that is ongoing right now that will actually prevent and help us better prepare for the next pandemic by the administration. And it is my hope that we can make objectively examining the origins of the novel coronavirus a part of this forward-looking work. And I stand by my commitment to take a serious, balanced look at all possibilities for the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I stand ready to work on this critically important mission so that we can save future lives. Thank you, and I yield back.